Edwin Diaz, sticky stuff, 10-game suspension. This is not a show or a what's the word I'm looking for? This is something we've seen before. This is a show that we've watched in the past year with the New York Mets. Started with Max Scherzer, there was the Drew Smith one, and now this year it's Edwin Diaz. And after the game, as I pull up the quotes here, they were obviously asking Diaz about this. Says, I just use the same thing as always. I rub rosin sweat and I put my hand in the dirt a little bit because I need to have some grip on the ball. He was obviously, he said he was very surprised because he didn't have anything on his hand, glove, belt. They checked my hat, everything, and they thought that was sticky a lot. I said, you could check my hand, smell my hand, and they didn't smell anything, but they threw me out. This is the one. This is the interesting quote I think Diaz gave out because I was, continuing to talk about this. And this was asked. The closer was asked if he had the opportunity to wash his hands because a clip you had sent me, New York Yankees starter Clark Schmidt, when I remember David Bell just absolutely lost his mind about this. One of the many ejections David Bell has had since being the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Uh, but they gave Clark Schmidt the opportunity to wash his hands, and David Bell wanted him thrown out of the game, but the umpire said Clark Schmidt can go wash his hands and come back and pitch, whatever. So they asked Diaz about that. He said, I didn't ask for it. As soon as they saw me, they were trying to throw me out of the game. I understood that's their job. That's part of the game. I don't know. I didn't ask for it, so I don't know. So that just stood out to me. Um, Obviously, they asked Carlos Mendoza about it. He said, no, the rules are the rules. But some people have said, well, what are the rules when it comes to sticky stuff, foreign substance, whatever? This is from Abby Mistrako. She covers the Mets on the New York Daily News. If I mispronounce her name, I'm sorry about that. But she said, she tweeted, Carlos Mendoza confirms that it was a sticky stuff ejection. Vic Carapazza, the crew chief, said it was too much rosin, which is a legal substance for pitchers. Now, the pool reporter, whoever that was, talked to Vic Carapazza after the game. As I'm trying to find the quote here, as I'm looking, and I can't find it now, but it's in there somewhere. I'll find it. But basically, Vic Carapazza said kind of the same thing that Phil Cuzzy said about the Max Scherzer ejection. And the pitching ninja tweeted this too, and he was like totally spot on about this. Just cue it's the stickiest hand I've ever felt doing this, whatever. That's pretty much what Vic Carapazza said. He said it definitely wasn't just sweat and rosin, whatever. Well, you told the manager that it was too much rosin. So this is just a total you know what show when it comes to the sticky stuff in Major League Baseball. Now it's the third time the Mets have had to deal with this in the past year plus, like I said at the top of this. And the pitching ninja also said this too, which I think is very, very good or very reasonable. We can measure bat speed, no, um, pitch rotation, stuff like all this new age uh, stuff, but we can't have a measurement of what is too sticky and what isn't. And the thing with this stuff too is it just becomes a battle of he said, she said. That's the problem. So like obviously the pitchers, whether it's true or not, I don't know, are going to say I didn't have anything on there, and the umpire is going to say, well, he had something on there, it was too sticky. And the way baseball has basically set this up is they're going to just go with the umpire. They're not really going to hear anything out from the player's side. So that's why these suspensions aren't going to get reduced. The only thing that's going to happen, like, it's a guaranteed 10 games for Edwin Diaz. It's no, like, whether he appeals or not, it's just going to be 10 games. If he appeals, basically he's just pushing the suspension back in my mind. Because that's what the thing with Max Scherzer was. They just said, "Hey, just take it, go with it. Don't bother appealing because we're just going to push it. It's just going to get pushed back and whatnot." So I'm going to catch my breath here and let you have your say. They also asked Drew Smith about this, and Drew Smith didn't really care to comment on it. So I think Drew Smith probably has some thoughts he did not want to share and get in trouble with. But while I grab a sip of water to clear my vocal cords, let's get Corne's thoughts on this whole situation.
Well, you have said it all. So yeah, you don't have necessarily have the time to get a sip of water because we're going right back to you. And no, it's what you said. I mean, it's we need to, and it was the same problem I had with the Amaya play at home. Um, it's just maybe another umpire wouldn't do anything. This umpire would probably feel that it's sticky. So there's no players don't know what to do. And I honestly would be shocked if Edwin Diaz in the season he is having right now, knowing that you get checked before the inning because the closer is always getting checked, would be that stupid to do to put some illegal stuff on his hands. I I have a hard time believing that Edwin Diaz does something that isn't allowed. One, because I think we have, and I know we don't know necessarily the personality of all the players, but I just don't think Edwin Diaz would do anything. He doesn't have, in my what I think, he doesn't have the personality. And then you hear that the umpire said to Carlos Mendoza, it was just too much rosin. Like what the peep? How does Edwin Diaz know what is allowed and what's not allowed if that's the reason? It was too much rosin, which is illegal, which is a legal substance to use. How do you know what's enough, what's not enough? Then you can tell me because I have no clue what you should do then.
The quote from Vic Carapazza, I finally found it. Um, it was said it definitely wasn't sweat, or it definitely wasn't rosin and sweat, even though he told the manager that it was too much rosin, at least according to Carlos Mendoza. We checked here. This is what every umpire says. We've checked thousands of these. I know what the feeling is. This was very sticky. This is what we heard with Phil Cuzzy. This is what we heard with probably whoever threw out Drew Smith in that game against the Yankees last year. That's what they're always going to say. Hector
Yeah,
Santiago, who's the first one to get thrown out from all this stuff. The umpire probably said that. And the point you made as well, we're what? Now 2 years into these hand checks for relievers and pitchers and all that stuff. Like what? And Diaz has always been cleared before in his outings in 22, his outings so far this year until last night. So what made like why would Edwin Diaz be like, okay, this is the night I think I need a little extra juice, so I'm gonna lather up my hand with whatever.
yeah.
It's a hard thing for me to believe, and obviously, we're Met fans.
Just coming back from injury,
Yeah.
just getting into a rhythm again, after being out for a while, uh, get into a rhythm. He was good the other outing, so it's not necessarily like, oh, I fucked up. Sorry for the language. I fucked up, so you can believe that it's time.
We'll get
It's
that in
time to
post.
do. It's time. It's time to do something different. He has absolutely no reason to do that, especially knowing when you get checked. I I just don't buy that Edwin Diaz used uh, an illegal substance. I just don't buy that, and it's not because I'm a Mets fan and maybe I'm a little bit biased for my quote my players. Um, I think everybody who is, you know, doing illegal stuff is stupid, and then you have the other thing that some other teams, the Yankees, because it happened twice with the Yankees, also with Herman,
Hmm.
um, were able to just wash their hands. And for us, it's the third time we get ejected without getting that opportunity. I think that's to me that's probably not a big surprise. And I'm gonna be the little bit of the Calimero. I don't know if you guys call it Calimero. I'm small and they are big. We are the small team in the
The little brother.
yes, so we get picked on a little bit more.